What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect, so let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process different perspectives. My team will tell you I am constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one. Some more of her personality and her sort of character questions about your weaknesses or what mistakes did you make? Not necessarily the answers there.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about this CNN town hall featuring Kamala Harris and Anderson Cooper, which honestly probably was one of the worst town halls that I've ever witnessed. And no, that is not an exaggeration. Like, I'm actually saying that after watching the town hall and just finding myself almost just kind of feeling sad at this point, okay? Feeling bad for Kamala Harris because I just do not think that she is intelligent enough to be doing what she's doing right now, which is running for president, right? Which, I guess good thing for us, she is not intelligent enough to run a competent campaign. And this town hall really does drive home the point that I'm making here, because I honestly believe that this is the nail in the coffin of her campaign, right? I'm at the point now where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I just don't see how she can win this race if this is the best that she got, right? If this is it, then, I just think that I'm not going to say it. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm just saying that this town hall was really, really, really bad, okay? And I really just want to talk about one subject here because, to be honest with you, you can summarize a vast majority of the town hall by saying that Kamala Harris just dodged answering any questions whatsoever, and she pivoted back to talking about Trump. That's essentially what she did throughout most, if not a majority, of the town hall. And I just want to focus on one issue, one of the key issues that Kamala Harris is struggling on. And I think that her answer, the way that she handled this question or series of questions and pushbacks that she's going to get from Anderson Cooper here in CNN is exactly why her campaign is failing. And that's when it comes to the border and taking accountability and responsibility for the disaster that has happened at the border. Because the way that she just refuses to answer any question directly related to the border and what she did, again, this is the reason why she's losing. Just play the clip.
I want you to meet Jackson Weiss, who's a student at Drexel University from Flourtown, Pennsylvania, registered Republican, says he's leaning toward voting for you, but has yet to make up a final decision. Jackson.
Thank you, Anderson.
Hey, Jackson.
Thank you for taking the time to be here, too, Vice President Harris.
Thank you.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely? What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with? And how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, How much money will be allocated?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this. America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed. And it's been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations in the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country. And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem. We have to have a secure border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed. That was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration.
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution, and that requires bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle.
Wow. I mean, I just want to be clear with people, right? I just want to be clear. I am rooting for Kamala Harris to lose, right? And I am happy that she's just so bad at this. But as an intelligent person, it gets to the point where it's almost insulting to listen to this person just be so bad. Like, it's painful to just listen to her fumble, and miss layups, right? Because that's what she's doing. That's exactly what she's doing. Like, it's almost like, yo, like I could, like any one of you in the audience could have answered that question better than Kamala Harris, right? If you were in her shoes, okay, clearly, your brain needs to be in better shape than Kamala's is right now, okay, in terms of ability to critically think, okay? But if you were in Kamala Harris's shoes, any one of you, right, watching this video could have answered that question better than she did. First and foremost, she didn't answer the original question. Second of all, when confronted on the fact that up until the executive orders that Biden decided to implement because he wanted to win the election, right? The border has been wide open. Now, Kamala Harris essentially blames the wide open border on Trump, although Trump is not in office. But her core argument is that the border is wide open because of the fact that there was no bipartisan legislation to fix the problem, which, by the way, the so-called bipartisan legislation would not fix the problem, but that's besides the point. Okay, that's besides the point. Because she admits herself in her answer that, hey, we cut the flow of illegal immigration. with Biden's executive orders, right? This is what she said. Now, the truth of the matter is, again, is that Biden is implementing these orders to try to win, and he actually negotiated a deal with Mexico to hold the illegals that are trying to come into the U.S. They're still trying to come here, right? Don't get it twisted. They're still coming. Mexico is just holding them on behalf of Biden because Biden, again, negotiated a deal for Mexico to hold them until the election, right? So that he can get reelected. That's what's actually happening. But Anderson Cooper brings up the point that, well, if you have stemmed the flow of illegal immigrants coming to the country, what you're admitting is that you could have done something about the problem a long time ago, right? Like it did not take bipartisan legislation to actually fix the problem, which would suggest that you purposely allowed illegal immigrants to flow into the country unfettered when you had the ability to do something about it a long time ago. Now, here's the kicker, right? Here's the kicker. Anderson Cooper asked Kamala Harris at that point, do you wish that you had put those executive orders back into place in 2022, 2023, since you're essentially admitting that those executive orders worked, right? And Kamala Harris completely drops the ball and says, no, I think we did the right thing. You think you did the right thing by allowing millions of illegal immigrants into the country when you just admitted that you could have did something about it earlier. But you're saying that you did the right thing. So again, she admitted that we could have done something about it without the so-called bipartisan legislation, which undermines her whole argument, which is that you need bipartisan legislation to close the border, right? She undermines her own argument. And then she basically admits that she does not regret allowing the border to be open and not doing anything about it, despite the fact that she admitted that they had the ability to do something about it with the executive orders. This might be one of the most unintelligent politicians that we've ever seen, right? I mean, Kamala Harris is really, really, really bad at this. Like, I've never seen a worse answer to a question than this. I mean, this is the reason why this woman refused to do interviews at the beginning of her campaign. We all know why now, because she is really bad. Like, this is probably one of the worst question and answer sessions that I've ever seen. Because she had an opportunity to just admit that, yes, we were wrong. She had an opportunity to differentiate herself from Joe Biden in a meaningful way by saying, you know what? Yes, I learned that, hey, we should have implemented the executive orders earlier, that we could have done something about the problem. However, we waited too long. And if I could go back and do it again, I would have put in those executive orders earlier to stem the flow. But we thought we could get something done. Unfortunately, we couldn't. But if I had known what I know now, yes, I would have done that. Easy. Easy, because again, the voters want to know, what would you have done differently than Joe Biden? Anderson Cooper gave her a wide open alley-oop. A wide open alley-oop. And she just completely misses. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. Right? I'm scratching my head wondering how in the hell did this woman come within one heartbeat of becoming commander-in-chief. This country, we should be ashamed of ourselves for allowing somebody who's this mediocre to come this close to being commander-in-chief of this country. And it doesn't stop there, guys. It doesn't stop there. Anderson Cooper then confronts Kamala Harris with her own words that she used in the past to describe Trump's border wall, right? And how now all of a sudden she's kind of in support of the wall, despite in the past not being in support of it. Take a look.
Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on it? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense, because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Wow. She just can't answer a question directly, guys. She can't, because, again, she is so afraid of giving a direct answer that sounds like she agrees with Trump on something, that she just dances around giving a direct answer, even though her answers are nonsensical, right? She's trying to say that, well, Trump's border wall was silly, it's stupid, and she makes fun of Trump for not building as much as the wall as he could have built had it not been for Democrats like her, and also Republicans as well too, fighting tooth and nail to stop Trump from building that wall, right? Which, you know, again, she conveniently leaves out, is that her colleagues, herself, and Republicans were responsible for Trump not building as much as the wall as he should have, right? She conveniently leaves that part out, right? But she's supporting legislation that will add to that wall that she demonized. She once demonized. So instead of just saying, I was wrong about the wall, we definitely need to build more of the border wall, in which, you know, she could one-up Trump on this, right? Potentially. She could potentially say, listen, I'm going to build more of the wall. I'm going to continue the wall. I'm going to finish the wall. And it's important to have the wall because it's necessary for border security, right? It's a part of my plan to enhance border security, to finish the wall, to get it done, okay? That would be the right answer. That would be the answer that makes sense. But in order to do that, she would have to admit that, hey, yeah, I was wrong about Trump's wall, right? And criticizing the idea of a wall, right? But again, she can't do that. She can't admit that she was wrong because she's a narcissistic politician. As you guys saw at the beginning of this video, she was asked a question during this town hall about what mistakes have you made? She can't give a direct answer on the mistakes that she made because, again, as a politician, she's programmed not to admit she made any mistakes, right? To try to present herself as perfect, right? She's never done anything wrong. And this is why her campaign is falling apart. This may be one of the worst exchanges I've ever seen in my life. Her answers were so nonsensical. They were so contradictory. They made absolutely no sense whatsoever. They were incoherent. And this is something that occurs throughout the whole town hall. Like, for example, Anderson Cooper had confronted Kamala Harris on all of her flip-flops. And while asking the question, he is basically feeding her the answer that she should give to why she's flip-flopping, which is that, hey, yeah, I have evolved and I've learned from my experience as being vice president, and that's why I no longer hold those positions. But Kamala Harris is so unintelligent that instead of just agreeing with what should be the answer if she was a smart person, right, she basically says, no, that's not it. I didn't really evolve in my positions. I still hold those values, because she just doesn't want to admit that she was wrong on anything or that she's changed, while at the same time trying to present herself as some type of moderate when before in the past she held very progressive positions. It's just incoherent.
Just to be clear, though, what he's referring to, and you point out to when you're running for vice president in 2020, you were not talking about banning fracking, but...
No, Anderson, I pledged that I would not ban fracking.
Right, I know. You said you would not ban fracking.
Correct.
You had said in the 2019 town hall, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. In 2017, you talked about Medicare for all. You talked about 2019, you raised a hand in debate about if border crossings should be decriminalized. Are all of those issues, which those are not your positions now, are all those issues that you're saying through consensus and getting stuff done you have evolved on?
Well, no, let's take, for example, the issue of Medicare. My point has always been that access to health care should not just be a privilege of those who can afford it. It should be a right for all people. So that is why I have worked on doing what we have done to, one, allow Medicare to negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication. We've achieved that in terms of capping the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, capping the cost of annual prescriptions at $2,000 a year for seniors. But my plan moving forward, based on that very principle that I've always had, is as president, to have that cap be for everyone and not just for our seniors. The work that I have done that has been about recognizing the importance of dealing with border security, that has never changed. As I said, I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations. That I did for years before I ever ran in 2019.
It's no wonder why the immediate reaction, even from CNN, even from the partisan hacks, the propagandists was like, yeah, this wasn't great. Right? And I haven't even gotten to that. Tomorrow, I'll be talking about the media's reaction because I got a feeling that the media, they're not going to have good things to say about this. Even they're not going to be able to spin this town hall. And this whole town hall was basically that. Kamala Harris avoiding answering any questions directly and but Trump. That's it. That's her closing argument. Well, I'm not going to really answer any questions about what I want to do. I'm not going to take any responsibility for the things that I did wrong or the things that we did wrong during the Biden administration. I'm just going to talk about Trump, but Trump. I'm again, it's at the point now where it just hurts, okay, as an intelligent person to listen to this woman talk, to watch her just be really bad at this. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy to be a politician. Not everybody can stand on stage and to answer those questions in front of an audience, in front of the world. So I get it. It's not easy what she's doing. But I truly do believe that the average American probably can do a better job or just as good of a job as Kamala Harris did in that town hall of answering that question. Because I believe at least some people may have enough common sense and humility to realize that, hey, maybe when it comes to this issue on the border, maybe it might just make sense to just admit that we got it wrong. Because a vast majority of the American people know we got it wrong, and there's nothing I can say to convince them any differently. So avoiding taking responsibility and accountability for what clearly is my fault, okay, because we didn't have this problem ever before the Biden administration and Kamala Harris, maybe it just makes sense to just admit that, yeah, we got it wrong, and this is why. And that will instill some trust into the American people that I learned from the mistakes that we made. But if you can't admit that you made a mistake, and not only you can't admit that you made a mistake, but you're also saying that you did the right thing. You did the right thing by knowingly allowing the border to stay open, despite admitting that you could have done something about it. Then why the hell should anybody trust you to fix the problem? Why? You can't make this stuff up. You can't. So, anyways, I'm speechless at this point. I really don't have much else to say about Kamala's campaign. I really do think that this is probably the end, okay? This town hall was it was really bad, and I just don't see how she can recover from this. This is terrible. It really is. This should be studied in history books of what not to do, how to not answer questions in the future if you want to run for president of the United States. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.